The US is bombing Yemen, and it's killed dozens of people already. I'm here to talk to you about why that's happening and give you a short history lesson on the US's involvement in Yemen overall. Because of Yemen's location, it controls the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which leads into the Red Sea. It's a very, very important waterway for trade, namely for trading oil. Trump is bombing Yemen because the Houthis in Yemen, who control most of the country, are reinstating their blockade and have said they will not let US ships pass into the Red Sea. It's important to know, when making foreign policy decisions, why they're doing that. They didn't just wake up over the weekend and decide they wanted to do it. They have employed this tactic before the ceasefire in Gaza was reached. Israel hasn't let aid into Gaza in 2 weeks. So prices for food are skyrocketing, and soon the people of Gaza will be starving again if Israel doesn't start letting in the aid that was promised to Gazans. So the Houthis have said that as long as these are the conditions in Gaza, this is what they will be doing in the Red Sea. So instead of ending the genocide and forcing Israel to let food into Gaza and reinstate access to electricity, Donald Trump just started killing civilians in Yemen. Just bombing civilian areas and killing people. That just sounds like US foreign policy to me, but also just demonstrates how far the US is willing to go to cover up for Israel's genocide. So if you're watching this and you voted for Donald Trump because you thought he'd end the forever wars, I'm sorry. It's not really what he's interested in, I fear. And Donald Trump is also not a new antagonist in Yemen. If you've been paying attention, the US has actually been bombing or helping to bomb Yemen for a very long time, for over 10 years now. And all of it sort of comes back to the same reason, is that they don't want Yemen to control the Bab el-Mandeb Strait because it's very important strategically for global trade. But unfortunately, that's where Yemen is. There's nothing really that people can do about the placement of Yemen next to the Bab el-Mandeb Strait in the Red Sea. There's nothing, they can't just move people. What they can do is try and control the government in Yemen. So when the Houthis took control over Yemen, Saudi Arabia rightly inferred that the Houthis would not be a puppet of Saudi Arabia like the previous government in Yemen had been. So they waged a war on Yemen that killed hundreds of thousands of people with US support. Logistical, diplomatic, political, military, everything. There has been a ceasefire in that war for a while now, but Saudi Arabia still implements its blockade in terms of it really limits the amount of flights that can go in and out of Sana'a, the capital of Yemen, for example. It's important to understand the US and the US history with Yemen when we're making sense of the news today. One, because this violence against Yemen isn't new. The US trying to control Yemen isn't new. But also, the escalation in Yemen could spark a broader regional conflict. So, instead of bombing Yemen, the US should force Israel to let aid into Gaza. Simple as that. Really simple as that.